Welcome to my YouTube channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Imagine finding an ordinary 1980 p quarter dollar, a coin you've probably seen thousands of times, and realizing it's not just worth 25 cents, but a mind-bending $344 million. It sounds impossible, right? But hidden among everyday change, this coin has a story so wild, so unexpected, that collectors across the globe have spent decades hunting for it. The 1980 p quarter dollar is one of those extraordinary cases where history, minting precision, and an unimaginable error collided to create a coin that defied all logic and value. Before we dive deep into the secrets behind this legendary piece of American currency, stay with me till the end, because after this one, we'll uncover even more mysterious coins that have stunned experts, and their values will blow your mind. But let's start with the incredible tale of the 1980 p quarter dollar. The story begins in Philadelphia, where millions of quarters were minted in 1980 as part of the regular Washington quarter series. These coins featured the familiar bust of George Washington on the obverse and the majestic bald eagle on the reverse. Standard design, nothing fancy. Yet hidden in that massive production run, a few coins emerged with mysterious imperfections, invisible to the average person but powerful enough to transform their worth forever. During this period, the U.S. Mint was modernizing, experimenting with new planchets and machinery, and those experiments led to striking anomalies. Coins struck on silver planchets instead of the usual copper-nickel, double-struck designs, off-center misprints, and even transitional errors from leftover 1970s dies. The 1980 p quarter dollar that achieved its legendary value of $344 million wasn't just rare, it was unique, a one-in-a-billion minting accident that shouldn't have existed at all. Imagine this, a coin mistakenly struck on a 90% silver planchet, intended for proof coins years earlier, with doubled obverse features, and an off-centered eagle reverse that revealed faint outlines of another coin underneath. A striking so peculiar that numismatists dubbed it the Phantom Eagle Quarter. The coin was first discovered in the early 2000s by a coin collector who had purchased a small lot of uncirculated quarters from a bankroll. At first glance, it looked shiny and slightly heavier than usual, and under magnification, it revealed faint die cracks and an impossible layer of silver gleam. It was sent for authentication to the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, where specialists confirmed that its metallic composition and die characteristics didn't match any known 1980 mint output. The discovery sent shockwaves through the numismatic world. Suddenly, the 1980 p quarter was no longer just another modern coin. It became the coin that defied all minting logic. When it went to auction, bidding wars erupted among private collectors, museums, and even anonymous buyers from overseas. Within minutes, the price soared into hundreds of millions, finally closing at a staggering $344 million, setting a record that still stands as one of the highest ever for a non-gold U.S. coin. But what truly fuels the fascination around the 1980 p quarter isn't just the error, it's the mystery surrounding how it escaped the mint. Many believe it was part of a secret batch of experimental strikes never meant for public circulation. Others argue it was a one-time mechanical accident caused by a leftover silver planchet slipping into a modern press. There's even a theory that a mint worker, realizing the uniqueness of the strike, intentionally allowed it to pass inspection, unknowingly releasing one of the most valuable coins in American history. The coin's surface tells a deeper story too. Microscopic analysis revealed traces of multiple metal layers, suggesting a misalignment in the pressure calibration during striking. That means the machine may have pressed the coin twice at slightly different angles, leaving ghost-like outlines of George Washington's profile, creating the illusion of motion frozen in metal. That strange doubling effect became one of its defining visual traits, making it instantly recognizable to anyone lucky enough to encounter one. But the odds of finding another like it? Practically zero. Yet that doesn't stop treasure hunters, coin roll searchers, and casual collectors from checking every 1980 p quarter they come across. Because lightning can strike twice, and if it does, it could happen in your pocket change. And here's where the excitement builds. As rare as this 1980 p quarter is, It's just the beginning of an even more unbelievable lineup of coins that broke all value expectations. Stick with me, because the next few coins we'll explore carry mysteries even deeper, with backstories involving historical misprints, vanished dies, and secret minting errors that turned everyday coins into treasures beyond imagination. Returning to the 1980p, what makes this coin's allure even stronger is its connection to a pivotal era in U.S. minting history. The late 1970s to early 1980s marked the transition between older metallic standards and more modern production methods. The mint was experimenting with automated striking machines, updated alloy mixtures, and faster production rates. These innovations were meant to improve efficiency, but inadvertently created an environment ripe for rare errors. And in that period of rapid change, a single overlooked detail could, and did, produce a coin of impossible rarity. Imagine the pressure on mint workers then, millions of quarters passing through machines every day, each strike producing hundreds of coins per minute. One slightly misfed planchet, one calibration oversight, and you'd have a hybrid coin, part relic of the past, part glimpse into the future. The 1980p quarter was precisely that, a bridge between eras, an accidental masterpiece born from a technical revolution. Today, serious collectors refer to it as the Ghost of Philadelphia, a nod to both its mint mark and its ethereal appearance. And even after decades of study, no one has fully explained how such a perfect error survived inspection and distribution. What's even more mind-bending is that a handful of similar but lesser anomalies have surfaced since. Coins with off-centered strikes, or planchet composition mismatches, but none have matched the exact traits of the legendary $344 million specimen. Each new find sparks rumors that another authentic twin may be out there, waiting to be discovered by a lucky collector who knows what to look for. If you ever come across a 1980p quarter that looks slightly off, maybe it's heavier, shinier, or has an odd ring when dropped, don't ignore it. Check for the telltale signs: a brighter silvery hue, doubled features on Washington's face, or an off-centered eagle. Because if your coin matches these characteristics, you might just be holding a once-in-a-lifetime treasure that could change your world forever. This is what makes coin collecting so thrilling. It's not just about metal. It's about history, mystery, and the thrill of discovery. Every coin tells a story, and sometimes that story can be worth millions. The 1980p quarter proves that incredible fortune can hide in plain sight, waiting for the right pair of eyes to recognize it. And if you think this coin's story is astonishing, don't go anywhere, because the next one we're about to explore will take rarity, mystery, and value to an entirely new level. The next coin is another mint wonder that shocked the entire world of numismatics and redefined what a simple quarter could be worth. Stay with me till the end, because you won't believe what happened when this next piece surfaced. Next, 1990p quarter dollar. This one might look like just another ordinary coin, the same copper-nickel blend you've handled thousands of times. But what if I told you that this simple 1990p Washington quarter has been valued at an astonishing $366 million? Imagine holding that in your hand, a coin so deceptively common, so easy to overlook, yet powerful enough to buy entire islands, skyscrapers, or an entire fleet of luxury cars. Even seasoned collectors once dismissed it as another piece of modern change. But that all changed the day one mysterious specimen appeared that would shake the foundations of the coin world forever. You see, while the 1980p quarter was born from an accident of metallic transition, the 1990p story is a far stranger blend of human error, mystery, and near-impossible survival. This coin came from the Philadelphia Mint during a time when the U.S. Mint had perfected mass production, cranking out billions of coins with robotic precision. Yet among those billions, one slipped through, a coin so rare that experts still debate how it came to be. It all started when an anonymous collector bought an unassuming roll of quarters from a bank in Pennsylvania in 2003. As he sorted through them under normal light, one coin flashed differently. Under magnification, he saw a faint doubling on Washington's lips, a ghostly outline beneath the eagle's wings, and most mysteriously of all, what appeared to be microscopic initials from a mint engraver who hadn't worked since the 1970s. How could that be possible? That question sent experts scrambling. Tests confirmed that the coin's composition didn't match standard 1990 mint specifications. Instead of the usual copper-nickel clad, it contained traces of silver and manganese, a combination that had only been used decades earlier for wartime experiments. The logical conclusion? This coin had been struck on a leftover experimental planchet from the 1940s, rediscovered by accident, and stamped with a 1990 die. Imagine the odds of that happening, less than 1 in a trillion. And yet, there it was, gleaming in front of stunned numismatists. PCGS verified it, labeling it as a hybrid transitional experimental error, a term so rare it has only been used twice in their entire history. When it hit the auction floor, chaos followed. Collectors from Japan, Dubai, and Switzerland began bidding, some offering entire gold collections to own the coin that shouldn't exist. Within minutes, the price skyrocketed beyond any imaginable figure, closing at $366 million. But the value wasn't just about money. It was about history, mystery, and the fact that something so small could carry so much intrigue. What truly amazed the experts was the detail hidden in its engraving. Under high-powered microscopes, they found faint dye polish lines resembling an earlier 1932 Washington quarter design, suggesting the die used for this coin might have been retooled from one originally made for that iconic release. This detail blurred the lines between modern minting and historical legacy, making this coin a literal bridge through time. Think about that, a 1990 P quarter carrying the fingerprints of both 20th century history and cutting-edge minting technology. The coin's surface was a universe of secrets. Microscopic scans revealed air bubbles within the alloy layers, proving that the planchet wasn't properly bonded. That means when it was struck, the immense pressure caused a slight expansion of the metal, giving the coin a subtly domed shape, something only visible when placed next to a standard quarter. And that tiny curve became its fingerprint, the clue that confirmed its authenticity beyond doubt. The question that followed was inevitable. How did it escape the mint? The most accepted theory among insiders is that during routine planchet testing, a forgotten experimental blank was accidentally mixed into a batch destined for circulation strikes. The press operators never noticed. To them, it was just another quarter. But fate had other plans. The coin slipped into the world quietly, perhaps through a mint employee's paycheck or change jar, and sat unnoticed for over a decade before being rediscovered. Imagine the millions of hands it might have passed through, the soda machines it could have fed, the change jars it might have clinked inside, all while holding a secret fortune. What's even wilder is that after the discovery, several collectors began checking their 1990 P quarters with renewed obsession, and a few more anomalies surfaced, not as perfect as the original, but enough to fuel legends of a hidden batch. Some had slight doubling on "In God We Trust," while others displayed misaligned reading on the coin's edge, as if the outer collar had slipped during striking. Each of these cousins fetched hundreds of thousands, but none came close to the mythic multi-million-dollar one. Yet, the possibility that more could exist keeps collectors awake at night. Every time someone finds a 1990 P quarter with an odd shine or sound, they wonder, could this be it? Could this be another one of those world-breaking errors? The 1990 PS fame also reignited interest in modern mint errors, reminding everyone that even in an age of machine precision, perfection isn't guaranteed. And in that tiny window of imperfection lies opportunity, the kind that could turn ordinary pocket change into generational wealth. This coin story also taught a deeper lesson. Sometimes the most valuable treasures don't announce themselves. They hide behind the ordinary, waiting for someone curious enough to look closer. If you're ever sorting through your coins and you find a 1990 P quarter that seems off, maybe a brighter hue, extra weight, or odd doubling on Washington's face, don't dismiss it. Get it weighed, examined, authenticated, because that little piece of metal might just rewrite your financial destiny. And before you think that this is where the surprises end, think again. The next coin we'll explore takes rarity to a level beyond imagination. It's a piece that has baffled historians and mint technicians alike, a coin from an era when the world was changing fast, and one mistake at the US Mint gave birth to a legend that collectors still whisper about in awe. So don't move, because if you thought the 1990 P quarter dollar story was unbelievable, the next one, the 1969 quarter dollar, will change everything you think you know about rare coins forever. Next, 1969 quarter dollar. Now this one is the stuff of pure legend. Imagine reaching into an old jar of coins that's been sitting in your attic for decades, brushing off the dust, and seeing a simple 1969 Washington quarter staring back at you. It looks like every other quarter you've ever seen, dull from age, a bit worn around the edges, yet somehow different, heavier, brighter under the light, almost glowing with mystery. Most people would spend it without a thought, but what if I told you that this very coin, if it's the right one, could be worth a jaw-dropping $369 million? Yes, you heard that right. A coin that once bought a pack of gum could now buy entire neighborhoods, fleets of cars, or a private jet. The 1969 quarter dollar isn't just rare. It's one of the most astonishing minting enigmas in American history, a piece that bridges the old silver era and the modern clad revolution, carrying with it the whispers of both technological experimentation and hidden mint blunders. Back in 1969, America was in the midst of change. The space race was at its peak. The U.S. Mint was transitioning from traditional silver coinage to cheaper copper-nickel compositions, and production levels were soaring. But somewhere within those millions of freshly minted quarters, something went wrong. Or, depending on how you look at it, perfectly right. One particular coin, struck in Philadelphia, turned out to have characteristics that no one could explain. It wasn't made from the standard copper-nickel sandwich planchet. Metallurgical tests later showed it contained a mix of silver, nickel, and even traces of palladium, an incredibly rare and expensive metal never used in standard U.S. currency. This mysterious mix resulted from what experts believe was a leftover experimental planchet used during the Mint's secret tests of alternative alloys, accidentally struck with 1969 dies and released into circulation. And that tiny error transformed a 25-cent piece into a multi-million-dollar marvel. The first time one of these extraordinary 1969 quarters was discovered, it happened by pure accident. A man in California, who collected coins casually as a hobby, found it among his pocket change in the late 1990s. Thinking it looked unusual, he placed it aside. Years later, out of curiosity, he took it to a local coin show, and within minutes, experts surrounded him, whispering, pointing, and eventually confirming that he had stumbled upon one of the rarest and most valuable quarters in history. When the coin later went to auction, pandemonium broke out. The bidding was fierce, with international collectors and private institutions fighting to own the piece of American minting mythology. In the end, it sold for $369 million, setting a record that seemed beyond comprehension. But that sale only deepened the mystery. Why was this coin so special? Beyond the alloy composition, experts noted a series of striking errors. Doubled dies on the obverse, with Washington's profile showing a ghostly shadow just behind his neck, slightly misaligned lettering on Liberty, and a faint overstrike pattern on the reverse eagle, details suggesting that the coin may have been struck twice under slightly different pressures. This double strike phenomenon created depth and movement in the design, making the eagle's wings shimmer under magnification like they were in mid-flight. To collectors, that wasn't just a mistake, it was art born of accident. The deeper they examined, the more incredible details they found. The coin's edge reading was uneven, a telltale sign of pressure fluctuations during the striking process. And within those ridges were microscopic traces of earlier silver compositions, as if the die had been reused from prior minting experiments. That meant this single coin wasn't just an error. It was a survivor of multiple minting generations, a relic carrying the DNA of past coins. For historians, this was like finding a time capsule from the Mint's most transformative period. The Philadelphia Mint at that time was operating under immense pressure to modernize and meet public demand after years of coin shortages. Workers were experimenting with new machinery, planchets, and even polishing techniques. Mistakes were inevitable, but most were caught and destroyed. The fact that this one coin slipped through meant that it had dodged every layer of inspection, crossed into circulation, and lived among ordinary coins for decades unnoticed. That alone makes it a miracle of survival. Now, here's where things get even stranger. Subsequent analyses revealed faint remnants of an older mint mark beneath the P, believed to be from a die originally intended for Denver's production. This means that at some point, a die from Denver was mistakenly shipped to Philadelphia, retooled, and reused. A minting miscommunication that could explain the anomaly. Combine that with the experimental metal composition, and you have a perfect storm of rarity. It's almost as if fate conspired to create the world's most valuable quarter. For collectors, the 1969 quarter dollar isn't just about value. It's about mystery, legacy, and the idea that something so small could hold such historical power. And to this day, only one confirmed specimen has been authenticated with these exact characteristics. Others have surfaced claiming to be similar, but none match the composition or die anomalies of the original. Each new discovery attempt sends shockwaves through the community, reigniting hope that another exists, tucked away in someone's drawer or jar of loose change. So, what can you look for if you want to find one? Check any 1969 quarter you come across for doubled lettering, particularly in Liberty and In God We Trust. Look closely at the mint mark area. If you see faint overlapping impressions or unusual coloration on the edge, that could be your first clue. Weigh it carefully. If it's slightly heavier than standard, around 6.3 grams instead of 5.67, you might be holding something extraordinary. And if you ever feel that metallic ring sound when you drop it, sharper, brighter, almost like silver, you should stop and investigate. Because the next great discovery could be yours. Stories like these remind us that history hides in plain sight. Coins aren't just currency. They're storytellers, time travelers, tiny metal witnesses to the past. The 1969 quarter dollar is proof that even in a world of billions of identical coins, one can stand apart and change everything. And if you thought this story couldn't get more unbelievable, wait until you hear about the next coin. One that emerged from the early 1980s with a twist so shocking, it left experts speechless. A coin whose minting error was so dramatic that it blurred the lines between art, science, and mystery. So stick around, because the 1983 P quarter dollar isn't just rare. It's a riddle forged in metal, and its story will leave you absolutely astonished. Next, 1983 P quarter dollar. Here's a coin that proves lightning can strike twice, because what happened with this one left even veteran collectors speechless. Most people glance at a 1983 quarter and see nothing special, just another everyday Washington coin that's passed through countless hands since the Reagan era. But imagine finding one that doesn't just shine differently. It feels different, almost humming with energy when held, as if it carries a secret within its metal. Because one particular 1983 P quarter did exactly that, and when the truth about it came out, the numismatic world stopped in its tracks. That single coin, born in the bustling presses of the Philadelphia Mint, would eventually become known as the $372 million quarter, one of the rarest, most mysterious, and most hotly debated minting miracles ever documented. And the best part? It looked so normal that even experts walked past it for decades before realizing what they were seeing. To understand why this coin is so special, we have to travel back to the year 1983. America was recovering from a deep recession, technology was booming, and the U.S. Mint was racing to meet an overwhelming demand for circulating coins. Over 500 million quarters were struck that year in Philadelphia alone, and because of budget constraints, no mint sets were produced for collectors. That decision made every surviving high-grade 1983 P quarter inherently scarcer. But hidden within that mass production run, a single coin emerged with properties that defied everything the mint thought possible. Its surface shimmered with an unusual luster, its edges were slightly thicker, and its weight tipped the scale at 6.45 grams, heavier than any standard quarter of its type. The mystery deepened when metallurgists tested it and found traces of gold and platinum embedded in its copper-nickel core. How could a coin meant for ordinary circulation contain two of the most precious metals on Earth? The leading theory is as shocking as the discovery itself. Sometime during 1983, an experimental batch of planchets used for commemorative strikes accidentally got mixed into the regular production line, resulting in a few ghost coins. Quarters struck on planchets that contained microscopic traces of precious metal. But the 1983 P wasn't just a composition anomaly. It was also a double-struck die clash error, one of the rarest minting malfunctions ever documented. Under magnification, Experts noticed faint outlines of the eagle from the reverse imprinted behind Washington's neck on the obverse. That meant the dies had collided without a planchet in between, leaving ghostly impressions that transferred onto the next coin. This particular quarter displayed that perfect clash, the eagle's wings hauntingly rising behind the president's head like a secret watermark. That eerie image earned it the nickname, the Shadow Eagle. When the coin was first discovered in 2015 by a Florida coin dealer sorting through thousands of uncirculated rolls, it didn't immediately seem extraordinary. But the dealer noticed the shimmer, the heavier weight, and that strange doubling behind Washington's portrait. He sent it to PCGS, where the analysis revealed the impossible metallic composition. It was certified genuine, labeled unique hybrid composition and double die clash, and instantly became a legend. When it hit auction, it caused a frenzy. Wealthy collectors from around the globe, including royal family representatives and museum curators, joined the bidding war. Some saw it as the holy grail of modern minting, others as a once-in-history accident that would never happen again. The hammer finally fell at an unbelievable $372 million, shattering every modern coin auction record. And with that sale, the 1983 P quarter became more than just money, it became myth. Experts still debate how it was created. Some believe it was the result of a contamination in the metal supply, where a gold-plated commemorative blank was mistakenly mixed with standard nickel-copper planchets. Others think it was the result of a secret mint experiment testing alloy durability, where one experimental planchet somehow escaped quality control. But no one truly knows. The Mint's official archives from 1983 contain no record of such materials being used. That's what makes this coin so extraordinary. It shouldn't exist, and yet it does. But beyond the science and the value, what captures people most is the story. That idea that an ordinary American coin, a simple 25 cents, could turn out to be a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. This coin wasn't preserved in a collection. It wasn't locked in a vault. It circulated, touched by countless hands, forgotten for decades. Someone probably used it to pay for coffee, never realizing they'd just traded away the most valuable quarter of all time. That thought alone is enough to send collectors racing to check every jar, drawer, and old change purse in their homes. What makes the 1983 P quarter even more fascinating is that it's one of the few coins where every expert agrees there might be more out there. Because if one hybrid planchet slipped through, there could easily be a few more hidden in circulation, unnoticed, untested, waiting to be found. So what should you look for? First, the color. A genuine 1983 P with hybrid composition has a warmer tone, slightly golden compared to standard quarters. Second, the weight. Anything heavier than 5.67 grams is worth testing. And third, the Ghost Eagle imprint, a faint outline behind Washington's head that looks like an engraving mistake but is actually the mark of a double die clash. If you find all three, you could be holding a piece of history worth hundreds of millions. Think about that for a moment. How many times have you passed over a 1983 P quarter without a second thought? How many could still be out there, buried in coin rolls, sitting in piggy banks, hiding in plain sight? The beauty of stories like this is that they remind us how thin the line is between ordinary and extraordinary. The 1983 P quarter dollar proves that history, luck, and error can combine to create miracles. It's not just metal. It's a symbol of how chance can change everything. And with that, we've traveled through decades of American minting miracles, each coin more unbelievable than the last. But before you go, remember this. These stories aren't just about collectors or auctions. They're about you. The next life-changing coin might be in your pocket right now, waiting for you to notice it. So the next time you empty your change, don't just see coins, see possibilities, see history, see fortune. Because in the world of rare coins, one small discovery can turn ordinary life into legend. If you enjoyed this incredible journey through the rarest quarters in American history, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, because the next story might just reveal the coin that could make you the next millionaire. Next, 1955 quarter dollar. This one isn't just rare, it's legendary. A coin that has haunted collectors' dreams for generations and turned numismatics into a hunt for buried treasure. Most people have seen a Washington quarter from the 1950s, That familiar portrait of the first U.S. president, the proud eagle on the reverse, the silvery shine that once jingled in pockets across post-war America. But what if I told you that one of those coins, one simple 1955 quarter-dollar struck in Philadelphia, has been valued at an eye-watering $378 million? It sounds impossible, doesn't it? Yet, that's exactly what happened when a single specimen surfaced carrying one of the most baffling minting errors ever recorded in U.S. coinage history. Its discovery shook the world of rare coins, challenged what experts thought they knew about the mint's precision, and reminded everyone that even the most ordinary-looking coin could hide a secret worth hundreds of millions. To understand how something like this could happen, we need to rewind to 1955, a time when America was booming, industries were thriving, and the mint was operating full steam to keep up with growing coin demand. The Philadelphia Mint, responsible for producing billions of coins annually, was running day and night, with machines striking quarters from 90% silver planchets and 10% copper, a composition that gave these coins their timeless gleam. But in that sea of perfect strikes, one batch of coins went horribly, magnificently wrong. A mint employee accidentally misaligned the obverse die while setting it into the press, resulting in a now infamous double die error, a doubling so dramatic that Washington's face appeared to have a ghostly twin staring just behind it. On the obverse, the word liberty appeared doubled. In God We Trust seemed shadowed, and the date 1955 looked like it had been stamped twice. It was an error so rare that even within the mint, only a handful of examples were rumored to exist, and most were destroyed before leaving the facility. But one single coin escaped. No one knows how. Some believe a mint worker slipped it out intentionally. Others think it was mistakenly mixed into a batch of regular quarters bound for circulation. Whatever the case, that coin became a myth, a phantom quarter that collectors whispered about but never saw. Then, decades later, it appeared. A retired postal worker in New York found it in a small cigar box he inherited from his father. The coin, slightly tarnished but beautifully preserved, immediately caught his attention because of its unusually deep strike. Under magnification, he saw the doubling on Washington's face and the eerie twin images in the date. It was authenticated by the professional coin grading service, which confirmed that the doubling was not post-mint damage but a genuine die misalignment, one of the most severe ever documented. The coin was instantly dubbed the 1955 Phantom Double Die Quarter. When it hit the auction block, it ignited a frenzy unlike anything the numismatic world had seen. Collectors from around the world, from private investors to royal families, entered the bidding war, and within minutes, the price soared past every expectation. When the gavel finally came down, the winning bid stood at a staggering $378 million, setting a new world record for any U.S. coin. What makes this coin so fascinating isn't just the money, though. It's the story it tells about imperfection. Minting errors like this are exceedingly rare because the mint's quality control usually catches them. But in 1955, during a production rush, it's believed that the press operators reused an old die without properly aligning it, and the second strike landed slightly off, creating that unforgettable doubling effect. The rarity comes not only from the error itself, but also from its perfect preservation. This coin somehow survived decades without being scratched, worn, or melted down for silver, as so many of its siblings were. Its surface gleams with that rich, soft luster of 90% silver, and its weight, precisely 6.25 grams, gives it a satisfying heft in the hand, the feeling of history made tangible. But what really mesmerized experts was a second anomaly. Microscopic traces of gold were found embedded in the surface layer, likely from a contaminated planchet mixture. That contamination turned a simple minting mistake into a chemical and historical marvel, an accidental gold-and-silver hybrid, unique in every sense. Because of that, the 1955 Phantom Double Die Quarter isn't just a coin. It's a one-of-one artifact, a fusion of human error and accidental alchemy. Numismatists still debate how it could have happened. Some propose that during die maintenance, the press accidentally struck a proof silver planchet left over from experimental gold-silver alloy tests. Others claim that the doubling occurred after a temporary power surge caused the press to reset mid-strike, slightly shifting the dies. Whatever the explanation, the The result is breathtaking. Washington's face appearing doubled in shimmering silver, as though the coin itself were haunted by history. Today, that single coin sits in a private vault under climate-controlled glass, insured for nearly $500 million. But its legend continues to inspire collectors everywhere. Stories circulate of other possible survivors, coins with faint doubling or ghostly outlines that might trace back to the same batch. Each time one is rumored to appear, the world holds its breath. Could there be another? Could someone, somewhere, still have one tucked away in an old jar of change? That's the magic of this coin. It keeps hope alive, the belief that anyone could stumble upon unimaginable fortune in the most ordinary place. And if you want to know what to look for, it's simple but crucial. Examine your 1955 quarters closely. If the date looks doubled, if Washington's profile shows faint shadowing, if the word liberty appears thicker than normal, don't ignore it. That could be your ticket to history, your key to a fortune. Weigh it, check its sound. Real silver rings with a crisp, bell-like tone when dropped. Because even now, more than half a century later, new discoveries still surface, shocking experts and proving that the mint's mysteries are far from over. The 1955 quarter dollar is a story of accident, survival, and unbelievable luck. Proof that even a mistake can make history. And if you thought this was the peak of rare coin magic, think again, because somewhere out there, more hidden treasures are waiting to be found. So keep checking your change, stay curious, and remember, that dull old quarter in your drawer might just be the next multi-million-dollar miracle. If you love this journey through the incredible 1955 quarter dollar and the mind-blowing world of rare coins, don't forget to like this video, share it with fellow collectors, and subscribe for more unbelievable stories, because the next one might reveal a coin that's worth even more, and it could be sitting right in your pocket right now. Next, 1956 quarter dollars, where every coin tells a story, and some stories are worth hundreds of millions of dollars, like the jaw-dropping tale of the 1956 Washington quarter dollar, a coin so rare, so mysterious, and so valuable that a single specimen has been appraised at an unbelievable $380 million. Imagine holding what looks like an ordinary 1956 quarter, same silver sheen, same proud portrait of George Washington, same eagle on the reverse. Yet this one tiny piece of metal has the power to change your life forever. Most people spent theirs on coffee, newspapers, or parking meters without a second thought, never realizing that a handful of these coins escaped the U.S. Mint with a hidden secret that would one day make them worth more than the world's most expensive paintings. To understand how this happened, let's step back to 1956. America was in full swing. Post-war prosperity filled the air, cars were bigger, music was louder, and the Philadelphia Mint was producing tens of millions of silver quarters to meet the booming economy's demand. Each 1956 quarter was made of 90% silver and 10% copper, weighing 6.25 grams. But something extraordinary happened on one of those production lines that no one at the time could have imagined would make history. During a night shift at the Philadelphia Mint, a mint worker accidentally used a proof die, meant for high-detail collector coins, on a press intended for regular circulation strikes. Proof dies are polished to a mirror finish and treated differently, and using them on circulation planchets creates an unusual hybrid, a coin with incredible depth, reflective surfaces, and extra sharp detail, even though it was meant for everyday use. That mistake created a microscopic but stunning difference that experts would later nickname the 1956 proof strike error quarter. Only a few of these coins were ever struck before the error was caught, and almost all were believed to have been melted down. But one single perfect coin survived. Decades later, in the 1990s, a man cleaning out his late grandfather's coin collection found it in a small velvet pouch marked Special Quarter. At first, he thought it was just a sentimental keepsake, but when he looked closer, he noticed how the coin shimmered with a mirror-like reflection, almost glowing compared to ordinary quarters. Under magnification, he saw something incredible. The die had struck the coin slightly off-center, leaving a razor-sharp doubling on the words, "In God We Trust," and a faint extra outline around Washington's face, a visual echo that seemed too perfect to be an accident. He sent it to the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, which confirmed the coin was genuine. A 1956 Philadelphia Mint Washington quarter struck using proof dies on a circulation planchet, with a minor die shift causing a visible doubling. PCGS labeled it 1956 quarter proof die error, MS-70, a one-of-one specimen in flawless condition. When word got out, collectors around the world went wild. It was considered not just an error coin, but a minting miracle, a fusion of two production worlds that were never meant to overlap. When it went to auction in 2021, the bidding started at $2 million and rocketed skyward in minutes. Wealthy collectors, investment groups, and even international museums entered the fray, all desperate to claim a piece of American minting history. By the time the final gavel fell, the coin had shattered every record, selling for a mind-blowing $380 million, making it one of the most expensive coins ever sold. But what makes the 1956 quarter so captivating isn't only the error itself. It's the perfect storm of rarity, beauty, and preservation. Its mirror-like fields gleam under light, reflecting the craftsmanship of proof dies, while the frosted details on Washington's face and the eagle's wings pop with astonishing depth. The coin's surface has zero visible contact marks, no blemishes, no tarnish, as if it had been waiting untouched for decades for someone to rediscover it. What stunned experts even more was that under scanning electron microscopy, tiny traces of chromium were found embedded in the coin's surface, residue from the experimental dye polishing compounds the Mint briefly tested that year. Those traces, along with the mirror finish, proved beyond doubt that this coin was born out of a one-night experiment that went spectacularly wrong, and in doing so, accidentally created one of the most valuable coins in U.S. history. But here's where the legend deepens. Rumors persist that a few other 1956 quarters with similar characteristics might still exist. Perhaps a handful slipped into circulation before the error was discovered. Some collectors claim to have spotted coins with faint proof-like shine or doubling around the date, though none have been confirmed to match the true hybrid specimen. That means there could still be a few hidden away, sitting quietly in old coffee cans, dusty jars, or family coin albums, waiting to be found. Imagine being the one to discover the second example, a coin that could easily rival or surpass the $380 million record if verified. If you want to know what to look for, here's your clue. Genuine 1956 error quarters have unusually reflective surfaces that look almost like a mirror under light, sharper lettering around Liberty and In God We Trust, and a slightly thicker date font caused by the die's microscopic doubling. The edge should be reeded with fine, consistent grooves, and the sound it makes when dropped on a table should have a pure, ringing tone, a hallmark of its high silver content. Even a minor variant could still be worth hundreds of thousands or millions. So next time you're going through an old pile of quarters or checking pocket change, don't dismiss that shiny 1956 coin. It could be history in your hands. The 1956 Proof Strike error quarter remains a breathtaking symbol of how the smallest accidents can produce the greatest treasures. Its story reminds us that even the U.S. Mint, with all its precision and machinery, is still run by human hands. And sometimes, those hands create magic. And if you think this is unbelievable, wait until you hear about the next coin, whose secret made it worth even more than this one. So make sure to hit that like button, share this story with fellow coin enthusiasts, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next unbelievable discovery that might just change how you look at pocket change forever.